Okay. Okay. Hi there. We're doing the kind of more up close and personal view again today because people seem to like it when they can see the item a little bit better. So we're making Halloween cookie pops today and then melting some candy melts to get started. Okay, so these are some Ghirardelli white vanilla melting wafers. Just giving these a little mix. All right, seems like we need a little bit more time. There's still a few little chunks in there. Pop it back in the microwave again. We're popping that back in there for another 20 seconds or so. While we're doing that, I'm getting my little popsicle sticks ready here. Sometimes I use lollipop sticks, other times I use these kind of like thin popsicle sticks. Okay, we're checking on our candy melts again. Just trying to make sure we got all those little pieces melted. All right, I think that's looking, there's like a little piece right there still, but mix a little bit more to use that heat to finish melting it. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. Still a couple little pieces. Pop it back in there just for a little bit longer, another 15, 20 seconds or so, and we should be good. Okay. And then we have our cookies. We're gonna do 5 different cookies today. And like I said, we're using popsicle sticks today. If you saw my other cookie live that we did, or cookie pop live, I use lollipop sticks instead, but today we're using the popsicle sticks. Okie dokie. Okay, looks nice and smooth. I think we're good to go. All right, so we have our mixture right here. I'm gonna try and get it both in frame. And we have our popsicle stick, and we're gonna take it and just dip just the tip, not too much. We want just a little bit on there. And then we're going to take our cookie and we're just gonna poke it into the bottom. We're gonna go probably about halfway, 3/4 the way up to make sure it's nice and on the stick. And that's it for sticking it on there. And we're just gonna let that set. We wanna make sure that we let that harden before we work with it again. So we're gonna finish off the rest of these and then pop them in the fridge to make it go a little bit faster. So we're just doing this with all of them. Like I said, just a little bit of melts. It's okay if there's some excess, we can take care of that later. Okay. And as you can see by the designs, these are the Halloween Oreos. They're so cute. They're little designs. Okay, just finishing putting our sticks in. Just like that. And then we're gonna stick these in the fridge so that those candy melts set. It's only gonna take a couple minutes because there's not very much melts on it. I'm sticking them on a sheet tray to be able to easily transport. Okay. Like I said, we're popping that in the fridge. Okay. So while that's happening, I'm gonna grab a mold. And I think I wanna do this one. So I got this new mold from a local cake supply store called Cake Castle. And I'm gonna use the little bats. I'm gonna melt some black candy melts while we do this. Just a little tiny bit. We don't need very much for our bats. I'm getting spoons out for all the melts that we're doing. I mentioned that we're doing 5 different designs today. They're all Halloween related. And this one is kind of like prepping for one that we'll do in a little while. So we're gonna do a couple little bats. I think I'm gonna do like a small one, a little bit bigger one. This mold is just so cute though. And, all right, we're checking on our melts. Just kind of move it around a little bit. Most of them are really not melted yet. But you want to make sure to move it around in between anytime you're heating and using the microwave for candy melts, or else they're going to burn. And we don't want that. Okay, another 30 seconds on that. I'm so excited about this mold. It's so cute. Oh, let me check and see. How you guys doing? A reminder, when I'm on this angle, I have to go in and check out the chat ever so often. So I will get to comments. If you have any comments, questions, let me know. And we're just waiting for our, candy melts are done. And they're getting a little more melty. It's looking pretty good, actually. I might not have to put this in there for any longer. Yeah, I think it looks good to me. Okay, so we have our mold. And we're gonna add a little bit of our candy melts to where there's the little bat pieces. I always like to make extra just in case, and then I can use them for other projects too. So I'm probably gonna cover most of the little bats that we got here. Okay. And as you notice, I didn't add any candy melts or any any vegetable oil to the candy melts to thin it out because I want these pieces to be a little bit more solid. And then we're going to tap, 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 tap on the counter. We're trying to remove air bubbles and get the candy melts to completely settle into the crevices that we want our mold to take. Okay, I think I'm not seeing really any bubbles pop up anymore, so I'm gonna get a, where'd you go? An offset spatula, and we're going to glide it across the top to remove candy melts. Okay, and our bats look good. Just trying to clean up the top a little bit. That way when they're all done and ready to go, we don't really have any little pieces to pick off of them. So that looks good. I'm gonna go pop this in the freezer so that it's completely set and ready to go when we are making the particular cookie pop that these are gonna go with. Okie dokie, so we're gonna grab our cookie pops from the fridge. We got our cookie pops. We can see that this is nice and set, the candy melts that we added before. So take off all of our other cookie pops. All right, and then I like to personally do a nice base when I'm doing cookie pops like these because they, I don't know, I like the way that they turn out better. So I like to do a base with the Ghirardelli white melting wafers. Again, I just like the way it ends up looking instead of going straight to the different color bases. So we're gonna dip all of them into our white vanilla melting wafers and just like this. Make sure it gets completely coated. I also like the flavors of the Ghirardelli melts a lot, so I think it adds a better flavor overall. And then we just want to kind of shake. Sometimes I kind of tap it on the side and give it a gentle little scrape. And there we go. And then we're just going to set that and let it do its thing and harden. Probably going to pop those in the fridge once again just to make it go a little bit faster. But we do the same thing. Tap, 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 and a gentle scrape. And if there's little bubbles like that, then you want to pop that and make sure it gets coated. Okay. Continue with the rest of our cookie pops. And again, we scrape the bottom. It might kind of remove a little bit of too much melt, but we're going to coat it with a second layer of color. You can see one of my colors back here. And it's going to be completely coated, and it kind of helps prevent it from getting a little extra like excess along the bottom, and it just makes it a smoother look to the finished product. Got two more. Pardon me. I need a sip of coffee. Again, just try to make sure this gets fully coated. Pop those little air bubbles when you see them. Go away. And a gentle scrape. Then we got one more to go. a little bit of extra candy melts to take off. It got on the side of it, no biggie. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna pop these back on the sheet tray I was using so that they set a little faster, or else it's gonna take forever. I just kind of like the, oh, this one is missing a teeny bit of melt right at the bottom. Just gonna use my spoon to kind of fill that in a little bit. Okay. Trying to overlap these a little bit. And we're gonna pop these in the fridge again. Okay, so while those set, we are going to, let's see, which one do I want to do first? I think we're gonna do, so first we're gonna do is a mummy. And for that one, super simple. All we need is some of our white candy melts and some little eyeballs. So we're gonna use a couple of our smaller ones right here. If you hear weird breathing, my dog is over on the side of the kitchen, just snoring a little bit. Okay. Stick that to the side. And then let's see. I think, oops. Check the chat. Like I said, if you have any questions about what I'm doing or what's going on, just let me know. Okay, so these are still looking pretty good. I might need to remelt these just a little bit when the cookies are ready, which should only be like a couple minutes. While that's going, we can start to melt some of our other ones. So I'm gonna do purple. This is the only one I haven't melted and added candy melts to yet, so I can show you that process really quick. So we're gonna pop this in the microwave for about 30 seconds to start. Okay, and then some of these candy, or the cookie pops, are gonna be kind of similar to the designs from the cupcake topper video that I posted yesterday. So I'm gonna do a jack-o'-lantern, I'm gonna do a cauldron, but then we have some other cute little things that I'll be doing today too that are different. Oh, let me get the bat mold. I'm gonna pop those out in a sec once I stir these purple candy melts. See, they're getting a little bit melty, but of course we always want to give it a little stir. Again, if you burn the candy melts, you gotta toss them. Can't salvage them, unfortunately, just like chocolate. Okay, get back in there. Gonna pop this in there for probably like another 30 seconds or so. And while that's going, we have our little mold. And I can feel that these are nice and set. So we're going to carefully, this is actually my first time using this mold. I'm so excited. Oh, this comes out so nicely too. Eee! It looks so good. And then we have our other little bats I'm gonna pop out. Oh, this mold's like really easy to use too. It's like just firm enough to be able to keep the shape, but it's like soft enough to easily pop out the image. So I'm just gonna pop out all my bats. Little bats. And then I'm going to stick them in the fridge though, because I do not want them to get too warm at room temperature to handle. I don't want them to start melting as soon as I pick them up. So I'm gonna stick them back into the fridge, not the freezer this time. Just until we're ready to use them. It's still like annoyingly hot. It's like 90 degrees today and the next few days. So I'm really in the mood. I'm totally in spooky season mode, and it's not, the weather is not matching. And our cookies are getting there, but they're not there quite yet. So still gotta leave them in there to finish for a minute. Okay, this is what they look like now. It's looking pretty good. Just looking for any little chunks that haven't melted yet. I think I'm gonna stick this back in there for another 15 seconds or so. Just to kind of finish melting any little pieces that are not yet melted. And same thing with this, it's nice and still kind of, you know, liquidy, but I think I want to pop this in there for, you know, 10 or 15 seconds just to make sure it's nice and warm, because that's the first one that we're going to work with once the cookies are done. And here's what it looks like now. Okay, I'm not seeing any little pieces that are unmelted. It's looking good. But do you see, it's very thick. So if you've ever tried coating something with candy melts, it looks very like bumpy and awkward and just doesn't have a nice, perfect, smooth coating. It's because you need to thin it out a little bit. It's not the right consistency for coating right now. So we're gonna add a little bit of vegetable oil. You can also add what's called Easy Thin. I personally haven't used that, but I know that that's something that's used to thin out candy melts. But I'm just using a little bit of vegetable oil. You want to just add a little tiny bit at a time. Of course, we can add more candy melts, but it's kind of a pain to kind of keep going back and forth. So just add a little teeny bit of vegetable oil at a time and you're good. We're just going to mix that in. It's getting closer. I kind of like to shake it to see if it'll actually kind of like fully flatten out by itself. It's not totally doing that, so we need a little bit more candy melts. Or a little bit more vegetable oil. You know what I meant. Okay. All right, so I'm liking this consistency better. I don't want it to completely necessarily flow off of the spoon because then it might be too runny. at that point. So I like how, you know, if I kind of like move this around a little bit, it can kind of blend back into the bottom. Let's see, do I want to add any more? Maybe add a touch, teeny tiny bit more. And while we're doing this, I'm gonna pop my white candy melts back into the microwave for just, you know, it's still melted, so only about 10 or 15 seconds. Like I said, it's just to make sure it stays melted. We don't want to heat it for too long or else they will burn. I finish mixing this in. Okay, that looks like it has a nice consistency. It flows, it kind of goes back in when I shake it, kind of gets a little more flat again. So I think this is the consistency we're looking for. I always kind of play it by eye. It's never consistent if you try and do measurements, because some candy melts you just need to add more oil to for whatever reason. Might just be the recipe, the consistency, I don't know. Let's check our chat. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions about what I'm doing. Feel free, I do not bite. Okay, just give it a little mix here. Good consistency. And it feels like it should be, feels warm enough too. So I think we're good on this one. And we're good on our purple. And I'm gonna check the cookies to see if they're ready to start coating. Okay, I think another minute or two and they should be good to go. In the meantime, we're gonna start to melt some more of our other colors, like the orange and yellow. Like I said, these ones are already done because I use these for my cupcake topper video. So I'm just gonna melt these together in the microwave for about 30 seconds to start. Again, that's why I always say to do it in short bursts to make sure that you are not going to burn the candy melts. And with this one, we're gonna do a purple monster, a one-eyed purple monster. And we're gonna use simply one of our big eyes. I think that's it for our eyeballs. Let's set that over here. And again, just stir in between, make sure it's not getting all burnt in one spot, because it will do that. It'll like burn in the very middle and the outside won't be melted if you don't mix it around in between. I have had that happen. Still needs more time for sure. Okay. Pop them back in there for another, I'm gonna say another 30 seconds again. Okay, and we can check our cookie pops again. I believe now they should be good to go. Yes. Okay. So it's nice and firm, completely set to the touch. And we're going to dip this one again in the white, because our base for this one is going to be just a white base for our mummy. So we're just gonna dip it again. And the reason I'm dipping it twice is because before I dipped it, you could see that it was kind of, like you could kind of see the cookie through it. And now you can't see the cookie. Now we're gonna pop that back on our tray. So let that set. And we're gonna dip our purple. And I think I wanna keep this guy kind of simple. I don't think I wanna do too much with him, because not all cookie pops have to be super intricate. So we got our cookie pop, and we got our candy melts here. I'm gonna use the spoon to kind of help coat it if it needs it. Looks like I added enough to make it coat it by itself. Again, just trying to make sure every little bit gets coated. And we're gonna tap, tap, tap. So the reason I do this instead of like shaking it off is because sometimes the candy melts get a little weird on top when I do that. So I like to tap it and let it fall down the sides. And then just gently scrape. Just like that. And pop it back on our parchment paper and pop it back on our tray. Okay, and then we're grabbing our yellow and orange, and we're also popping this in the microwave. This is our black for our cauldron. Okay. Mix our orange, see how it's doing. It's looking pretty good. I like the consistency that I'm looking for. I like it, I like it. Okay, I think with this one we're good to go. Let's check our yellow, because we'll just do them back to back. Yellow is like super runny, but that's okay. Okay, both these are ready to go. I'm gonna take my black out and stir it and then put it back in the microwave so that this one's ready to go to do our cauldron coating. I'm doing 20 more seconds. Okay, so let's coat. Let's do orange first. I'm actually gonna get the spoon out of there this time. I think that's gonna be a little bit easier. And again, I like to do one coat base of the white on the bottom because you can still see cookie through this. So that's why I don't worry about the back. They're not gonna really see that. But the front, I like to do the two coatings because it ensures that you cannot see the cookie through the coatings. Just gonna coat our cookie fully in the orange. Make sure every little bit right up to the stick gets coated. And then we're gonna tap, 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 tap. And then do a gentle scrape, just like that. See how nice it looks? Pop it on our parchment paper, back on our tray, so we can stick this in the fridge again and after we're done coating the rest of them. Get our orange out of here. Next up we have our yellow. Oops. And the yellow is because we're doing a moon with some bats on it. Oops. Got parchment paper. Once again, just the same thing. Make sure everything gets coated on the cookie. And if there's little air bubbles, usually they kind of take care of themselves when you're doing this part, but you might also want to get a little, if that one doesn't want to go away. So I'm going to get the cake tester that I use, which is just like a little metal stick. So if there's little stubborn bubbles that do not want to go away, then you can just gently poke them. Just tap them a little bit. And then tap it a little bit more to kind of let the candy melts fill in those little gaps that it created. And then gently scrape. And we're good to go. And then I'm going to grab the black candy melts out of the, oops, hold on. There's a teeny bit of the yellow that didn't want to completely cover the cookie. Okay. And we're grabbing our black candy melts for our last coating. Oops, let's give it a little stir first, make sure it's all good to go. Okay. We're going to take our cookie. There's a little extra piece of the white candy melts that a little bit extra on the side. Okay, and we're going to dip this one just like we do with all of them. And we're going to tap it out again. Perfect. And we're going to stick that on the tray. And now all of them are coated in the different colors, and we're going to pop this in the fridge again to let them set a little bit faster. So in the meantime, we're also going to get our sprinkles that we need. I'm going to get a little plate. Okay, so sometimes I like to have like a little plate where I have all my little toppings that I'll be using. So we got our eyeball for our purple monster. And we have our little eyeballs for our mummy. These are two of the easiest cookies that we're doing today, for sure. I'm also going to take the time to check the chat. Okay, we're good to go. And then for sprinkles like these are a pain in the butt and they bounce everywhere, but they look really good. So that's why I like to use them. Gonna keep them in the bag until I'm ready to use them. And then I have this sprinkle mix, and I'm taking a couple of the bones out, or probably just one. I think I only need one. Yeah, we're gonna do just one. Let's get a nice little bloody bone there for the witch's cauldron. And then what else do we need? Check my list. We got our mummy, our purple mummy, got that one. Aha, okay. So, where are you? So we have a pretzel stick, and I'm gonna break off just the tip, just a little. We do not need a big piece at all, so this should probably do it, but I'll break off another one as another option just in case. This is our little sprinkle mise en place, or like our finishing touches. that is our stem for our jack-o'-lanterns. And what am I missing? Oh, our little bat, but I want to keep those in there because those are candy melts, so I don't want them to get warm at all before I start to touch them, or else they're going to get misshapen. In the meantime, while we're waiting for some things to set, here's the little candy toppers from the video that posted last night. I think they turned out pretty cute. What do you guys think? The little witch's cauldron. This is a truffle. Make sure to check out that video because it was a lot of fun to make these little toppers. So I hope you guys enjoy. And this is a marshmallow pumpkin. I love the way that this one turned out. I was actually inspired by a Disney video on TikTok where they kind of showed them making their caramel apples, and they did this one technique, and that sparked the interest in doing that particular pumpkin style. So make sure to check out that video. Okay. And what else? We're gonna need to, okay, so we're gonna have yellow for our jack-o'-lantern face. You can pipe the face, just like I mentioned in my video that I posted yesterday. You can pipe the face, but I like to brush it on there. I like to kind of paint the face on. I just feel like I have more control because sometimes with piping bags and candy melts, it can get a little bit wonky. So that's what I'm going to be using to do the face on this. And I think that's all of our toppings that we're going to be doing. It just occurred to me that it would have been better to put this in while the candy melts were still soft, but I can use my kitchen torch to kind of soften the candy melts on top of the jack-o'-lantern and put one of these in. Set this on the side. Okay, and then we're also going to get our white candy melts ready. Because that's our first one that we're going to do. Okay, candy melts are starting to get a little bit set, so I'm going to stick the white candy melts back into the microwave just for a little bit. Again, 15-20 seconds max. Just to make sure that everything is good to go. And then with sticking things on, I'll show you the 2 different ways you can do it with the candy melts with sticking some of our toppings here on. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to add this to a piping bag. Because our cookies should be just about ready to go. And we don't need all our candy melts. We don't even need very much at all. To the side. And we're gonna check on our cookies really quick. Oh, our cookies look good. They are set and ready to go. Okay. So we're gonna do our mummy first. So here's our cookie pop. And we're gonna take our piping bag of candy melts. One sec. Okay. I always like to squeeze a little bit back into the bowl just to make sure that it's piping nicely before I start to go over the project. Okay, so then we're just gonna do, with our piping bag, a drizzle of candy melts right over the top. Just like that, and then we can add our eyes now. Because I also like to do at least one more direction that I'm piping. Just gonna pop our little eye right there. He's so cute. Okay. And then we're gonna go in a different direction. I think I'm gonna go like this. Just gonna be kind of careful not to get it onto the stick or too much onto the eyes. Just like that. And then we're gonna set this aside to let it set, and then we'll be able to break off these excess pieces. I think I wanna pop that back on the tray and I can stick that in the fridge. Meanwhile, we're gonna be doing our purple monster. Okay. All right, actually first, before we do that one, I'm gonna do this one and just gently melt the top like I talked about with the kitchen torch. Oops. All right, we don't wanna burn anything, we don't wanna do anything like that, but I wanted to just gently melt the candy melts right there. And so I can stick this right in there. Come on. Stay. Okay. And we have our stem. So we can pop that on the tray with our mummy, so that'll set. Okay. So, like Gord said, we're doing our purple monster next. And with this one, I'll show you how to attach using candy melts. And then I'll show you another way with something else. So let's get a brush. Don't need a big one. Where'd you go? A lot of food brushes. Okay, so I grabbed a food brush. We don't need a very big one, like I said. And then this is just a simple one-eyed monster. So we're not really gonna do much else but put our eye, and we're gonna put a little dot of candy melts. We don't wanna put too much because we don't want it to go past the eyeball. And before that sets, we're gonna stick our eyeball on. Just press so it holds it down. And there's our little one-eyed monster. So he's complete. We're gonna set him into this side. And in the meantime, we will work on our moon with the bats. So I'm gonna get the bats out of the fridge. So to stick these ones on, I'm going to just gently melt the top of this and then place the bats on it. I think I want to do a couple little bats. There's a couple different sizes here. I think I want like a nice little trail of bats. So again, we're just going to gently melt. We don't want it to melt too much. And I'm also using food tweezers because when handling a candy melt little decorations, it helps to prevent it from melting in your hands. Okay, so I'm gonna stick this, I'm gonna do kind of like a little bat cascade. And see if that's gonna adhere to the melted candy melts. Which little bat do I wanna do next? I like you. And then, again, just kind of putting them like that. Just barely press down because you don't want it to like kind of go up on the sides around it. You just want to make sure it sticks. And then our third and final bat. Get off. Okay, there we go. Like I said, just barely press down. Just like that. Let me stick this back in here. And our little moon with the bats is complete. So we have fully 2 of the 5 done. And we're moving on to our cauldron. So with this, we're going to melt some green candy melts. Pop that in the microwave really quick. And let's see, I'm gonna stick these to the side. Okay, and while that's melting, I think I'm gonna grab out, the candy melts should be set on the other ones. So I'm gonna grab that tray. Okay, we're checking on these. Those are nice and firm. So with this one, we can literally just lift up and it's all stuck, but then just kind of gently pop it off. And I can kind of clean up the sides a little bit. Just like that. And there's our little mummy. He's so cute. And with these candy melts, don't throw them away. You can pop them back into the white candy melts and remelt them. All right, we got 3 of the 5. We're rolling right along. And this one is nice. Oops, that one didn't want to set completely. Okay. Just gonna soften that a bit. All right, I'm gonna stick this back in the fridge because this one isn't completely set yet. Okay, and a reminder that this is for our witch's cauldron. With this one, I'm not adding any what's it called, vegetable oil, can't think right now, any vegetable oil to these candy melts because I want them to be firmer than the ones that are coating the cookies. Still need a little bit more time. It's easier for candy melts to burn when they don't have the vegetable oil in it, so you especially have to be kind of careful remelting stuff like this. So we're gonna do probably 20 seconds just to err on the side of caution, make sure we're not gonna, you know, get anything messed up with it. And then you probably could add like a little lip of like black right here, like kind of pipe some black on, but I'm just gonna go straight on and add the green on top because we're gonna make it look like a little bubbling cauldron. Ooh, I haven't checked the chat for a while. Okay, we're good. And just seeing if it's all melted. It's looking good. All right, I think we're good. It looks good to me. So we're gonna pop this into a piping bag. You don't have to, you could just go straight on with the spoon and put it right onto the cookie pop, but I just personally like to have more control, and that's what the piping bag does for me. Oops. I had some little unmelted pieces from the piping bag I was using. I'm gonna pop this in the microwave again for another 10 seconds or so. In the meantime, I'm checking on my jack-o'-lantern cookie pop, and it looks like we're all set and ready to go. And we might have to remelt our yellow candy melts a little bit, because that's what we're going to use to add our face for our jack-o'-lantern. Okay. Just mixing up our green candy melts. Looks good. So I'm going to add it to my piping bag now. And you don't need much of all of these. It's just a little teeny tiny bit that we'll be using. Okay. And again, like I said, I'll show you. I like to make sure I do a tester to make sure it's actually looking good. Seems like I still have a little bit of those unmelted melts in the piping tip, and now it feels good. We're good to go. So use your bowl that you use to melt to kind of test out how the consistency is with your piping bag. Oh, and also on piping candy melts, just like piping buttercream, you want to twist right at the top of what you're piping, because that'll give you more control and be able to do better pressure to get the stuff to come out instead of going up the top. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of make it look like a bubbling cauldron, kind of going on the top. It has like, kind of give it that lip, but then also make it kind of go down a little bit to kind of give it that bubbling over effect. And it does not have to be perfect, because again, it's a bubbling cauldron. And we're gonna add some green little non-pearl sprinkles. And just a couple more. Do you have any questions out there? No. Okay. And then also, I like to lately add a little bone to my bubbling cauldron. Excuse me. Ugh. I hate that allergies are icky right now. So I like to add a little bone sprinkle also to the top, just to kind of give it a little extra pop of color. Oh, and you want to slide down. Stay. Okay, that should be good. Okay, and we're gonna set this aside, probably pop it back on our tray and actually let it sit in the fridge. When you're using the green nonpareil sprinkles, just be careful, because these little, I'm gonna call them something else. These little things like to go and bounce everywhere. So even if you think you've like cleaned all of them up, it's not a guarantee. I guarantee that part. I found some of these like days later and been like, I could have sworn that I cleaned all of them up, but it's because they like to bounce all over the place. Okay, so while that one chills, We're going to just melt just a teeny bit just to get it a little bit softer. The yellow candy melts for our jack-o'-lantern face. Let's do like 15 seconds should be good. Okay. And then we're going to do a little mix, make sure it's all good to go. Okay. Feels good. Oh, I'm going to close up these little green sprinkles, or else if I drop this bag, I would not be happy with how much they would bounce everywhere. Okay. So we are taking our yellow candy melts and we're going to paint our face onto our jack-o'-lantern. So I'm just going to do a pretty basic, you know, little happy jack-o'-lantern. So I'm going to do a little triangle eye. And again, like I said, you can pipe this, but I just feel like I have more control sometimes. Depending on what I'm working on, I have more control either piping or just painting on. And in this case, I have more control painting. Now we're going to do a second eye. I can tell that the cold from the cookie is setting these a little bit fast, but that's okay. Okay, and then I think I'm going to do a little jaggedy smile face. Sometimes it's a little hard to do certain mouths on stuff like this. So I like to do the little kind of zigzaggy smile. Just like that. And then an optional way to also finish this, you can either leave it as is, just like this, or we can add a little bit of green on top to kind of give it that, you know, a little bit of vines look on top. So we're gonna use the same piping bag that we used for our cauldron. And I'm just gonna add just a little bit of vines, kind of make them all squiggly. Just like that. Just give a little extra pop of color too. Okay, there's our little jack-o'-lantern. Okay, so let me get the cauldron out. That one I think should be set by now. I'm gonna move my torch here. Okay, feels set. So let's have a look at our complete cookie pops. All right, so first up, oh, and are there any questions? I haven't asked that for a little while. Let me check the chat. Oh, thank you, Jerica. All right, so let's take a look at our cookie pops. I'm just gonna get rid of this parchment paper. Okay, so first up we have our Mummy Cookie Pop. Oops, I keep tapping my stand that this is on. Okay, so here we have our Mummy Cookie Pop. This one is obviously super simple, one of the easier ones that we did today. All these are pretty easy though, so it would be super fun to make these with your friends, maybe even your kids if they like to be in the kitchen. And we also got our purple one-eyed monster. This one is obviously the easiest. It's just a little bit of coating and a simple big old sprinkle. And then I think this is actually one of my favorites just because I love the look of the moon with the bats on it. Also, you could do this one with that same mold I was using, but do white for the ghosts, and you could have like a little ghost on the moon. That would be cute too. And here's our jack-o'-lantern that we just finished. The face isn't perfect, but what jack-o'-lantern is. And finally, our witch's cauldron. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you think about these. I'm pretty excited with how all of them turned out. I think they look really good. Let me see if I can kind of fit all of them in here. Do you guys have any questions about anything that I did? I think, like I said, I love cookie pops. They're very simple. Very easy to do some very cute things with. Gonna slide this guy in. Ha, there we go. Yay. Okay, I can kind of fit all of them. Yes, the ghost. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to do that. I'll have to do that for a short or something like that. Because I'm actually really excited. I got a ton of molds. And I think maybe I might be sharing in my stories a video sharing some of the really cute Halloween molds that I got recently. I got them from like a local store, and there are some of them I'm really, really excited to use in particular. This is also one that I could have used. It's like really, really itty bitty bats and little jack-o'-lanterns and ghosts and stars and moons. But these are super duper tiny, so they're for really fine details. So I kind of like the size difference with these. I like the cascade of the 3 different sizes. So yeah, there are the cookie pops. Let me check the chat. Oh, thank you so much, Jerica. Thanks for popping on and saying hi. Yeah, that's it for our live today. Oh, are you awake now? My dog wants me to take her out. So these are the cookie pops that we did today. Make sure you check out those cupcake toppers. Like I said, that video went live last night. So make sure to check that out. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think about these cookies. And if you want to see more stuff like this, more kind of simple desserts like this, because it's no bake, it's also really easy. And yeah. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. We will be back next week, obviously, with more fun Halloween content, and I might put a poll up to see what kind of stuff you guys want to do next week. So keep an eye out for that, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks for coming.